What's up, everybody? Shauna D Man here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. I hope you guys are having yourselves a great week. Getting ready for the weekend. We are back with our episode 6 review of Star Trek Starfleet Academy Season 1, titled Come Let's Come Let's Away. I think that's what it was. I think that was the title. Uh but this one I don't really know how to feel about this particular episode. We get Braka. So first and foremost, episode opens up with uh Tarima, Tarima and Caleb basically getting it on for the first couple of minutes of the episode. We get a lot more information about Tarima and her abilities. We get to a point to where she basically created like a safe space in her mind. Or I think it was in Caleb's. It was one of the. I think it was in her mind. Um, but obviously she's a betazoid, so she's able to connect with other people's minds and stuff like that. And she 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 connects to where she sees basically what happened to Caleb's mom and stuff like that, and triggers Caleb. Um, they get into like a small little fight. I don't think he necessarily called her a freak. It didn't really come off like that. But he obviously he was not, happy about it. Even she apologized about it. So basically, the episode is revolved around the War College and starting the academy, going to the USS Mizaki. They're just running, basically response drills, like what to do on away missions and stuff like that. So they get broken up into different teams. You have uh, blue team and red team. It's like a mixture of the War College and the academy. So the people who go over onto Mizaki is Tomov, which I guess is just a person who's been running this scenario for the past 6 months or whatever. Bavi, who is the Vulcan. I don't know the other guy's name that has a thing for Jaden. Jaden's there, Sam is there, and Caleb is there, and then you have Darim, Genesis, and whatever the fat chick's name is, the one I swallowed her comm badge in episode 1. You have them on the bridge, and then the goal is to like the team has to like try and restore power under an hour, and then they'll swap, and the other people do it. So it's just a cooperated training exercise for both. But it obviously goes awry when a bunch of warp signals appear. Not necessarily appear, but they were basically waiting, and Mizaki gets boarded by these alien hybrids known as the Furies, and basically get hold everybody hostage, threaten them for ransom, the whole 9 yards. And so the plan is, so Admiral Vance is meeting with Nala and Kelrick. The plan is there is only one person who's dealt with the Furies, that is Braka. So they're going to try to bring him over to give some kind of information on how to beat him and things like that. Now obviously Nala is suspicious about it. She's not on board with it. She doesn't like Braka. I would say in this one, he didn't feel as much of a cartoonish villain that he did in the first one. I thought this one they actually they actually made him a little bit like a clever villain. Like like the whole this whole thing that he set up was actually pretty brilliant, and how far he set this up. And like he had all this planned out, which we later on in an episode. But anyway, um, the Furies get ready to shove somebody out the airlock. The team fights back. The away team fights back. Is able to overcome them. Tomov gets captured. I guess he gets eaten and shoved up the airlock. Um, I felt a lot of people were useless in this, at least on the away team. Like Jaden was pretty useless. The other guy, the other War College guy, he was pretty useless. Bobby was okay. I mean, he had some stuff, but I mean, Caleb he did most of the stuff, and then Sam, integrated with the computer and everything. So I guess she did something, but it felt like, but those two in particular, Jaden and the other guy, I feel like they really didn't add anything to the story. They were just there as just extra bodies for the mission and stuff like that. Um, so anyway, so the Furies are wanting 30 or the 30 million, 30 land. It was like either 30 or 300 million lanthanite bars or something like that, for the ransom and stuff like that. Even Vance mentioned that, like, the Furies have a habit of killing their hostages even when they get the ransom. Um, so Braka comes over. Obviously he has demands and stuff like that. Um, he wants, one of the things is like, stop supplying dilithium to a particular planet, because originally, before the Federation got involved, they were basically having to pay Braka to move back and forth and stuff like that. But then the Federation supplied dilithium and basically kind of nipped that in the bud. He wants that to stop, and obviously there's also incentives and stuff like that for each cadet that's brought back alive and stuff like, and just things like that. So so Caleb and the away team are able to get back. They're able to escape and get to the bridge. Now, obviously, the Mizaki has the reason the Mizaki is in the situation that it is because they were, I believe it said they were working on an experimental warp drive. I don't know if we've heard about that from Discovery, um, but it called, it essentially, the crew died when the experiment failed and stuff like that, and the ship doesn't know that because Sam, being what she is, was able to integrate into the system and slowly bring stuff back online. Even when the ship got power, was brought back online, it still was under the impression that it was still trying to rescue the ship and the crew and everything. And so one of the things they talked about was, so Bobby show like has the computer scan a comic book. So one of the things we heard earlier in the episode was, uh, it's a comic book about the adventures of the USS Mizaki. Caleb calls it propaganda and stuff like that. Bobby calls it inspirational. Tomato, tomato. The ship is able to, scan it and be like, you guys are the new crew of the USS Mizaki. They're able to raise up a shield, to keep the Fury out for the time being. Meanwhile, you got uh, uh, Terima, where she's trying to connect with Caleb. So she's able to connect just enough, but obviously there's a lot of chaos and stuff going on, and she starts panicking because she knows that Caleb's in danger, and they're all gonna be killed and stuff like that. Meanwhile, on the bridge, you have Genesis and Darim working on. They come up with a plan to track the Fury ship, because the Fury ship is cloaked and is blocking their signal. They can't transport anybody out, and so they come out. So Genesis comes up with a plan to fly a probe at low impulse speed in order to scan different areas to get over a sit like a 60%, um um I guess basically like success rate, in order to locate where their Fury ship is. Meanwhile, you got Braka and Nala just, you know he's striking some nerves here, and he's talking about how, like, you always talk through me, you always talk around me, but you never, talk to me. And he jabs at her because he brings up about her son, about how he died on a situation like this, and then he realizes that Caleb is on the Muzaki, and he's like, oh, this is poetic, or this is, just deja vu, for instance. So he doesn't really like, but this entire time, knowledge just feels like something's missing. Like she can't put her finger on what it is, but something's not right. Um, Braka, he's able to escape. He's able to leave. Um, um, Genesis, not Genesis. I'm sorry. No, uh, Terima. They come up with a plan, and then we kind of get hear what happened. So she's a special type of betazoid. Like I guess her powers are just you know very very highly advanced or something. There's a lot about her to where like whenever she got angry or scared or something like that, she would lose control and people would get hurt because her brother mentioned how she destroyed their father's lyrics, I think it was, to where he couldn't speak, and so that's why we saw him sign language and stuff like that in episode 2, I think it was two or 3, and so but the plan is she feels as if she's in control enough to help. So what she's gonna do is because they come up with a plan. Kelrick tells them that they need to activate the single polarity, and that will do enough to disrupt the field that is keeping them from being able to be boarded or be beamed off the Muzaki. So you have Terima, talking with Caleb through mind palace type stuff, and just instructing him on what he needs to do and stuff like that. Um, so the plan they come up with on the Athena is uh, they're gonna have a ship from an experience like a nearby base. They're gonna have a ship on its way to them, adjust its systems to use a high frequency sound that will send the Furies away because they're part bat or something like that. And so high frequency sounds is not good for them. Is how or at least at the time that we know it, is how Braka was able to get them to leave from a specific particular sector. None of this goes according to plan, and this is why I'm kind of like they made him a much, maybe not, but it's a far stretch to say Braka's a much better villain, but they actually did something better with him. Like this was all so basically this was all planned out. Braka planned this out. Like I don't it's still unclear on like if if Braka and the Furies were at each other's throats, or the Furies just work with Braka this entire time. It's still, I think, to me it's a little bit unclear on that. But yeah, this was all a ploy. Like it's crazy. So the Furies breaking on the bridge of Mizaki. Blaster or phaser fires going all over the place. Sam gets hit and she's like glitching out. Um, Bobby gets killed. He takes a phaser fire directly through the chest because at the time the phaser it was aiming at Caleb. He comes in and he takes a full hit. Meanwhile, you have Terima rip out her modulator to keep her regulated, and she herself causes a sonic scream that basically kills all the Furies on the ship. Um, and they're able to beam everybody out. At the end, we learn that again, like we know now this was all a ploy. While that ship had left the Federation uh base or research base or whatever, uh 8 or more Veneri Rawl ships appeared and attacked the base, killing. They don't not really sure the number, but they killed a lot of people, and whatever was on that base, even Kelrick doesn't know. He says it's highly classified stuff. He would assume, but what was ever on that base? Braka has it. Um, we get the Discovery name drop because Vance is like Discovery is still collecting the escape pods and stuff like that. So uh, I'm curious if this time it is uh I forgot her name. Shoot, Michael. I can't remember her last name for some reason, but I wonder if like if that crew is still on Discovery at this time. So that's a little interesting thing. I'd be curious uh to know. Um but yeah. So I mean, Vance is mad. The president's called a security council meeting and things like that. No one sleeps until Braka is brought in or killed. He's just became the most wanted man in the quadrant, and everybody's just is going through it. Uh, the doctor is checking out Sam. Tarima is basically in a coma. Bobby is, he's dead, and I forgot. I don't know why I don't know his name. I don't think they ever said his name. Maybe they did. I just didn't care. But one of the War College cadets places the comic book that Bobby liked, just on the body and everything like that, and it's a pretty emotional ending for sure. And then Braka comes in and talks about how you know Nala, because of his hatred for Nala, it made him better at what he does. Like, he knows how far he can go. And so it's gonna be interesting to see on what they do with him the rest of the season. That's why I'm just kind of like I didn't really hate this episode. I don't know where I stand with this episode just yet. I think I really have to wait and see what happens with these final four episodes to really have a good idea how I really feel about this singular. Because the previous episodes, I could just tell you I didn't like them. This one it was just interesting to me. So, well, we'll see, but we'll see. But that is relatively it, guys. That is my episode 6 review of Star Trek Starfleet Academy. If you're new to the channel, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button, comment below. You can also find me on my gaming channel, Kick, Twitch, Rumble, the Nerd Talk podcast on Spotify and Patreon as well. So be sure to head on over there for more fun content. But guys, thank you again for hanging out. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Y'all have a good one.